Story Grows. I'm Brad Patton. Today we welcome back to the podcast Sean Mott, and for the first time, Matt Travers from Syracuse hardcore band GHOSTxSHIP. GHOSTxSHIP recently released their first single in over a decade, Ties That Bind. You can add it to your bandcamp collection or find it on your streaming music platform of choice. The guys talk about the Syracuse scene and its re-emergence, the lawsuit that added the X to the band's name, why the band broke up, and the joy they're currently having making music again. I will leave a link in the show notes to Sean's first appearance on the podcast if you want some more information about him and his podcast, Metalcore Nerds. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of As the Story Grows. If you're new to the show, welcome, and thanks for checking this episode out. You can find links in the show notes or at asthestorygrows.com to the podcast community with our Discord server, sign up for our mailing list, or support the show financially and get early access to every episode via Patreon. And if you think someone might enjoy this episode, go ahead and share it with them. Enjoy today's chat with Matt and Sean from GHOSTxSHIP.
Ties that bind, knots that hold.
What's up, Brian?
Not much, man. I was going to send you a message last night asking if I was talking to you today.
Originally, I was trying to get Matt to do it alone, but he was scared.
No.
So I joined him.
Yeah, to say the least. Nobody knows him in the band. It's the ongoing
Dude,
joke.
Yeah, you're an OG member, though. I'm not.
I am. Nobody knows that, though.
I know. Don't worry. Keith and I were like, we're not even original members. Every time people ask us, they're like, what's it been like from like the beginning of the band? I was like, we weren't there. So
like, I don't know.
Probably for the best that you weren't.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I was there pretty early. I mean, not
Yeah,
the
you were
earliest.
there.
Kyle
You were
was
there.
really early,
Yeah.
earlier than me, but
Yeah.
Nice. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome back, Sean.
thank you. Thank you.
Nice to
Sir.
have you here. Well, Matt,
Happy to
since
be
you're new, where did you grow up?
I grew up here in Syracuse, actually in a small town outside of Syracuse called Lafayette. Class of like 40. That was thrilling. And that's actually about the time when GHOSTxSHIP like started. I think I got approached to ask that when I was like in my junior year of high school, which was 2000. Sean, you're gonna have to correct me because I think you're more of a guru than I am, but 2008, 2009, one of
I
those.
think the
One of
band
those years.
officially formed in 2009, but
Okay, yeah, there you go.
and the
Works.
conversations may have started in 2008. Maybe I wasn't there, so I don't know.
I got approached by some old heads. I was in high school, so that must have been pretty weird.
Good
Yeah, we're
time.
the young ones of the band, technically. I mean, not technically, we are the young ones of the band.
Yeah.
Everyone else is old as fuck.
Well, now you have to explain that at the next practice when they watch this video.
What, I called them old?
They take offense to
I think
that.
I think they call themselves old. That's
What is old? What are we saying is old here?
I mean, I think really and truly Keith is the only old member of the
Keith is 48 years old.
close,
Which
close up.
he looks really good for almost being 50. I'm gonna be honest. And then I think Keith and Kyle are near 40, right?
I don't know. They're all in their 50s.
they're all 50 plus.
Oh man,
We're the only ones in our 30s. No, I think they're in their late 30s. I think I could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to ask them next time.
How old are you guys?
good times. Matt, what got you into music?
What got me into music?
Yeah.
Well, my dad was a musician, a pretty shitty one at that, but he was playing guitar around in his short ass jeans, and I thought that was cool looking. So I picked up the guitar. But one of the first bands I ever really started listening to was Rise Against, like the old Rise Against, and that's really what got me into music. And I just learned as much as I could, learned a lot by ear, formed some shitty bands along the way. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since. I think I started when I was 14. I'm 33 now.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the local scene like in Syracuse when you were in high school? And Sean, you can answer that. I know you're not from Syracuse proper, but
Oh, he's been involved. Even if he was living in Watertown, he was involved with every music scene you can think of.
I tried.
Go ahead, Sean.
I tried. Well, I didn't start going to Syracuse shows until I was like 18. Before that, I grew up in Watertown, and I went to a local show when I was like 15 or 16, and ever since then, like everyone has. I talked about this on another interview. Someone asked me like what my first show was, and I see people posting all these things like Metallica was my first show, and I'm like, yeah, mine was some local bands I don't even remember who played. I just remember going to the show and being like, this is the coolest shit ever, and just wanted to be a part of it. So I would hit up the people booking the shows, and I would help flyer, and I started making really terrible paint flyers when I was like 17, and that's what started me to being like, oh, maybe I should do graphic design, and then went to college for it and everything like that. And ever since that, I was booking shows. That's how I met GHOSTxSHIP. I booked them in Watertown. Nice. And they played with my old hardcore band Atlas, which if you try to look it up, there's a million Atlases, so good luck. You can guess which one I was in. And then I booked Matt's old pop punk band, A Fortune and Fame, a bunch of times too. And then I started going to Syracuse shows, and then kind of the same thing happened. I would just either get involved, like I did. Syracuse shows was like the promotion company for the longest time in Syracuse, and I started doing the flyers for him and playing shows for him, everything like that. But I think the first Syracuse show I went to was a Halloween show, and it was at this place called the Westcott Community Center, which at the time I remember it being really big, but then when I revisited it years later, I was like, this place is so small. It's so tiny. And the lineup was I and the Avalanche, This Is Hell, A Lost for Words, I think the Doppler Effect, which was, I was really close with those dudes, and this other band, Tonight We Dance, which was a band from Watertown that I was really close with too. And I remember it was the first show, like watching This Is Hell play. It was the first show where it's like there was a pit, and then there was a pylon in front of the pit, and I was like, "What is going on?" So I don't know. Like Syracuse is like every scene goes through ebbs and flows.
yeah.
Now it's kind of on a ebb. Or it's more in the flow. It's not down. It was down for a few years. Now it's going back up. But when I started going to shows, it was like the hot spot. Like so many tours came through, and also it's like Every Time I Die is from Buffalo, so they would play there at least once a year. Polar Bear Club is from half Rochester, half Syracuse, so they would play like once or twice a year, and those shows were always packed. You can find a video of YouTube of like Matt tackling me off the stage during Polar Bear Club. Us both stage diving and him like tackling me.
Nice.
But yeah, like that's what brought me. I mean, that and then end up filling in for GHOSTxSHIP and joining the band like brought me. I lived in Syracuse for like a decade, and I don't know, like upstate New York has it's such a weird scene, but when it's good, it's really fucking good, and when it's bad, it's pretty fucking bad. So it's there's no really in between, you know. There's back when GHOSTxSHIP was a band before we broke up. Like Utica used to have shows all the time. We'd play in Utica and it'd be so sick. Albany is still great. Like they have a new venue that opened up like a few years ago, and it's awesome. And they still kill it. They have big shows in the big room, cool smaller shows in the smaller room. Like they're doing very, very well. And now Syracuse is too. There's like a hardcore DIY scene that like books all the hardcore bands from like everywhere. And then After Dark opened up a new venue, and any tour they book it, any big tour or like mid-sized tour. I guess it's only a 400 cap room, but like the Dying Fetus tour just went through there. We played the Gideon tour that went through there. So anything that size that comes through it plays there. So it's cool. I think we're on an up for sure. A lot of the shows at the Song and Dance sell out, which is a really cool thing to see. Anytime you can get good sellout business in any scene.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, like ever since I started going to Syracuse shows, and like the Lost was kind of the place then where all the shows went to, and going there was always awesome until it wasn't. But yeah, we still got something going here, and it's great. honestly. At least I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I've been even looking at some they had over the weekend. Today's what, Tuesday? I think they had a show on Sunday outside skate park. That shit was bonkers. Oh, yeah. It was packed. Just watching the videos is just so thrilling. A lot of young kids. They got their niche going. They created they basically rebuilt a hardcore scene with all these younger kids coming. So, and if you ever get a chance, I don't even know what really to look up, but some of those bands, All for All, they're killing it. They've been playing some big ass shows as well, but the Syracuse music scene is thriving. It looks like, and just happy to be back. That's the most important thing.
Nice. Name of the band is Ghost Ship. Was that inspired by the movie?
To be honest, I don't know. Curtis never really had great ideas. But he came to the band and mentioned Ghost Ship, and we're all, I was like, fuck, I don't have a better suggestion, so let's go with it. And then Sean, I think you were in the band at this point, but didn't we get threatened some legal action from a butt rock band in California that we needed to change our name? So yeah, we got, because we were also Ghost Ship. They were Ghost Ship out in, I think, California. So they threatened legal action for defamation and whatnot, and we ended up having to put the X right in the middle between Ghost Ship.
Yeah, very similar to the Kubla Khan stuff. Now they're Kubla Khan TX, Paleface Swiss. This is the early mentions of that. We had to make it. I mean, it's still pronounced Ghost Ship, but for legal purposes, it's GHOSTxSHIP.
Well, that's there was a band from Erie back in the day, Dave Quiggle's band, Disciple, and then there's a Christian butt rock band called Disciple, and they were all right, we're X Disciple X, and they were X. That's still too close, and now they're X Disciple X City and whatever. They're fucking Disciple, right?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's no escape. The agony won't fade away. Ask me if I care. My empathy is beyond repair.
Let me ask you, your straight edge hardcore band, what was it about the straight edge scene that drew you to it? Was it just that was a part of the music community, or was there something about straight edge itself and the culture of not drinking and doing drugs, etc.?
It's kind of weird for me because I was straight edge before I knew what straight edge was. I grew up in my dad was an alcoholic and not a great dad, and I started kind of getting into a crowd of that when I was really young, and I was this is not what I should be doing. And then I was just I should never do this stuff ever again. And I never did. I would go to parties with my friends and they would all drink and stuff I would never drink. And then eventually, when I got into heavy music, I kind of saw oh, this is a thing that people do. I'm not just some weirdo that doesn't do drugs. This is an actual thing. And I think that's what kind of got me as the fill-in, because I was maybe one of the only straight edge they knew or something. But yeah, it was that's really it. It was kind of a weird thing for me because I didn't know what it was, and then eventually I was oh, there's other people that do this not drinking drugs thing. This is cool. It was funny too because in Watertown, I think when I first heard about it, I thought it was kind of a joke, only because everyone in Watertown that was straight edge wasn't straight edge anymore. They were years ago, and then everyone, and then once hardcore shows started happening and more people got in Watertown and more people kind of got into hardcore, that's when I was oh no, this is actually a for real thing.
Yeah,
cool, awesome. So it's me claiming edge. I don't know, but I have not done drugs or drinks since I was 13. It's
nice.
I don't know. It was just I feel it's a different experience than most people have with straight edge, but and it's cool to see that straight edge is cool again. I love that there's a ton of straight edge bands, not even in hardcore and metalcore or whatever, just kind of preaching that hey, we're straight edge. And I think that's dope. Because that was a very uncool thing for years. And even our music now has evolved past the whole straight edge thing. Obviously we're all straight edge. And that's cool. If you're not, that's also cool. Like, we don't care as long as you don't suck as a human being. But we even back when we were, you know, writing the EPs after Cold Truth, the lyrical content kind of progressed past just things about being straight edge, because I feel like that's important to not like just alienate yourself to one thing. It's cool to be that thing, but I think it's better to expand beyond that.
I mean, it's weird to hear your side of the story, but it like almost is an alignment of mine. You know, I've obviously, I wasn't a big fan of drugs. I've never had a single drug in my life. I think I used to like do some drinking and smoking when I was about 14 years old. But then obviously some family members had some substance abuse issues, and that's kind of what drew me away from it. But when you start going to the hardcore shows and you start learning about straight edge, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, that's kind of the lifestyle that I'm living. And I was very, very fond of the hardcore scene back in the day, still am. But it's just, it was interesting to learn about it as you're kind of living that lifestyle. Yeah. So same thing with Sean. I've known you for well over a decade and close to probably 2 decades now. And I haven't never heard that. So it's funny that we kind of have that same story.
What led to the band then breaking up about a decade ago? And then was COVID the catalyst for this reforming?
No, COVID definitely was not.
Okay.
But the breakup was kind of, we all just kind of started going away from each other. And I think in the vision of what we wanted the band to be, like a lot of us had this idea of, hey, we're going to be a full-time band. And at this point, Matt just had a kid. So he kind of like stepped away from the band, not entirely, but pretty close to entirely, because he had some stuff he needed to take care of. And that was the science. Obviously that was way more important than anything we were doing as a silly hardcore band. So we put out Cold War Army, and that's when stuff for us, we felt like started getting a lot of attention. Like we'd go to shows and like people like out of like normal Syracuse, upstate New York area, like knew the words to songs that like weren't Cold Truth or something. And we're like, oh, this is like starting to work. Like it's starting to catch on. We started playing fests, stuff like that, like bigger out of town shows. And we're like, maybe we should give this a shot. And it kind of just became this big kind of struggle to what everyone wanted. And we all could just see it like wasn't working. We were in the middle of like writing a full-length record and everything like that, but it just like wasn't working. So we were just kind of like, I think we should just go out and on the high note. So we kind of planned like not like a year, but like a pretty far in advance that like, hey, this date's going to be our last show, whatever we can do in between, cool, and we'll do it. And that's kind of what we did. And then we kind of just went our separate ways. A lot of us didn't talk for years. The only one I really kept in contact was Matt. Funny enough. Not that we talked like every day, but like we would talk every once in a while, because this dude's in a million bands and has always been in a million bands. So he'll be like, hey, could you help me with some stuff? Or like, hey, check out this new song I wrote and stuff like that, which was always cool. And I kind of stepped away from music for ever, playing music. I never thought I was going to play music again. And
I'm pretty sure I heard word for word of never playing guitar again.
Yeah, I really thought I wasn't going to. A few years ago, like almost a year ago, it's kind of when I thought never say never on a lot of things, because people would ask me about Ghost Ship getting back together, and I would be like, not going to happen ever. Like, I don't think it's ever going to happen. And then one day I got a text from Keith, and he's like, hey, they want us to play this Earth Crisis show. Would you want to do it? And I think all of us said the same thing. And we were like, if everyone's down, I'm down. And then everyone was down. And then we kind of got into a room. We were just going to do this one show. That was it. Matt was very, very like, he's like, I'm doing this one show and that's it. And then we got into a room, played a song together. First time we were all in a room together in 8 years. And we played the first song and it was like, we never stopped. And like after that, and us kind of like playing the show and practicing more and hanging out a little bit, we're kind of like, do you guys want to like do more shows and maybe write music and stuff? And everyone was kind of like, yeah. and then it kind of all just happened. Like we started working on new music. Like Matt sent me like all these old ideas he had and stuff like that, and it's been like honestly incredible to reconnect with these guys and play music with these guys again, and write music with them again, because it's such like we're all different people than we were 8 years ago, and just even writing seems so much more natural. And I don't know if it's because we're just all in different places and handle things differently, or if it's just everything feels more natural and there's no like pressure on us to do anything or anything like that. We're kind of just all doing all this stuff on our own terms. Maybe it's a combination of all of it, but everything we've been doing as far as like writing has felt so cool to me and so refreshing and like inspirational to me, like just writing with other people and being like, I don't know. It's just crazy that like a year and a half ago, if you would have said, "Oh yeah, Ghost Ship's going to put out new music," I would have been like, "You're fucking insane." Here we are.
Yeah, you get older and your ambition changes, right? You're not in your 20s being like, "We got to tour all the time and make it." And the whole music industry has changed, where it's like you don't have this pressure of like, now I have a closet full of CDs. What the fuck am I supposed to do with them? It's just okay. I put the digital single out on the streaming platforms and like, cool, right? Like, for better or for worse.
Yep. I think it's pretty cool just coming out of the woodworks and doing it again. It's not like we're out there seeking these opportunities. And it seems like a lot of these opportunities are just landing right in our lap. And so it's like, why not? I mean, we're still trying to live life to our fullest, right? We're not going out there trying to tour full time. I'm a dad of 2, right? So if I can get away from my fucking children for a day, why not? I'm going. We all have. I mean, I do agree that we're all different people. We've definitely matured even a lot more than what we were in the past, and it's very refreshing to like get in a room with these guys, start jamming again, and like how Sean said, the writing sounds a lot more natural than it used to. I mean, we were like wanted to all knock each other's heads off our freaking shoulders here back in the day. And 2015, I remember that clear as day. It was a very uncomfortable writing process, and now it's just it's a breath of fresh air. But it's cool. Yeah, we're back. We're doing it. Opportunities come our way. It'd be stupid for us to turn it down, and unless it's an unrealistic value. I mean, we were just talking about Japan. So, Sean, are you going to be able to make that one work?
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying.
I mean, I just want to do at least one Japan tour before I call it quits. So,
me too. That's a major bucket list item for me. So,
I just want to see all those spin kicks and backflips off the stage. Let's go.
I'm trying so hard to make it happen, and I'm manifesting that it will happen. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm leaving it all in your hands.
So we just know when you guys announce the Japan tour, that's it. You're calling it quits after that. That'll be the end of Ghost Ship.
Yeah, well, another opportunity hopefully will come our way. We'll just stay in the States, though.
Yeah. You guys, about a month ago, put out Ties That Bind, first single in a decade. You said you've been writing new music. Is the plan just to slow release stuff, to have stuff, or are you like, do you have a grand vision of putting out something like a full length or EP?
Right now, it's just singles. That's our goal. That's what we're doing. We're currently working on a song that I've been talking about ad nauseum. I'm so excited to put it out. I think it's the favorite song I've helped write in my life. Like, no joke. I'm so stoked on it. Matt started with the idea. I kind of threw some ideas, and then we both kind of melded together and made it a full thing. That one I'm really stoked at. Right now we're working on a few songs and a cover, and then we're going to record those and have them kind of banked to be able to release as we want. And then we're working on something else that's sort of an EP, but I don't even want to say what it is. But there will be a collection of songs releasing to do with something. Hopefully by the end of this year too. All of these things I'm hoping that we can release till the end of this year, and we're still writing as we're doing that too. Like, we're resurfacing old demos, reworking them, just playing with riffs. Like, we'll just send each other ideas and stuff like that. Because we're all just like, our schedules are all fucked and don't align at all. I live an hour away, but we're making it work, So we try to take advantage of as the time we have together as much as possible. So there's definitely more stuff coming this year, 100%. As far as a full release, I would like to eventually, but right now we're just kind of like, hey, we need to release new music. This is the best way to do it for now. Just release some singles, keep it rolling, and see where that takes us. And that's really it. I think that's the best plan. It's so hard because releasing music is so different than what it was nowadays, and we're still trying to navigate that. Ties That Bind was, that was our first release like 10 years ago. Releasing music was so different. It's so drastically different. So we're trying to navigate that. And then as we go along, learn more and see what we can do better. With this new song that we're most likely going to release next, we're going to have a music video with it and everything. So I'm stoked for that.
I think we're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Yeah.
Just like how Sean said, we're taking a different approach to our writing. It's very natural. Ties That Bind, I think we've all adapted to a point where collaboration is very key in this kind of this music, Sean and Kyle they can bust out riffs for days, but I feel like I'm sort of autistic in a way where I'm so hyper focused on like one thing. I got to make sure I get it done from start to finish, or I'm not going to start another idea. Those guys will bang out ideas left and right, but when it comes time for us throwing those ideas in the mix, holy hell, it's a whole different thing. Like he starts throwing out ideas, Chris, it's all collaboration. And I think because of that, we're a different version of Ghost Ship that I think people are going to really like. So if anybody's out there listening to this, I think it would be really cool for you guys to just stay tuned, because we may throw you guys a freaking curveball, and I would love to get some honest feedback of it. So yeah.
The feedback for the new song has been really positive, and I'm super stoked on that, because you don't know what's going to happen when you, like, we all are a super big fan of that song, and we're obviously super big fans of like everything we're working on currently, but to put it out there in the open and see what people think, and everything's been pretty positive, and I think it's really cool. So for anyone who's checked out the song or reposted or whatever, like, thank you so much. Like, it seriously means the absolute world to us that just see people, like, because we kind of got back together selfishly as like, we're doing this for us, but to see people actually care has been really cool and really special. But like Matt said, just stay tuned for what we got going on. We got some cool shows we're announcing in the fall. We got It Dies Today in Syracuse, June 28th at the Song and Dance. Super stoked for that show and to play with those dudes, because they got back together like while we were still broken up. So it's cool to be able to get to play shows with those guys. And I think we have a show kind of near us that we're going to announce at the end of August. It's announcing soon, I think, but we have some really cool shows for the fall announcing very, very soon that when I saw the flyer, I still look back at it because I'm like, I can't believe this is real. So get stoked for those shows. And we're playing out of state, which is sick. Like, I'm so stoked to get back out of New York. I love New York. I love playing in New York, but I'm excited to play out of state again. That's nice. So we'll see what else comes our way, and we'll see. We'll do whatever comes to us, really, pretty much. That's the thing. The opportunities come, we'll take them.
This is the common ground.